Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about some of the benefits of overreaching and then deloading in your training. And this can be a bit of a complex topic, and it's something that novices don't necessarily benefit from because novices can make nearly maximum gains without doing these sort of complex things. It's just simply not necessary. However, the more advanced we get, the more we find that it's harder to disrupt homeostasis. And oftentimes, if you always train within your recovery ability, what happens? You make almost no progress, right? Your minimum effective volume, in some cases, depending on what's happening with your lifestyle and your training, your minimum effective volume might be so close to your maximum recoverable volume that you struggle to actually make progress at all. So that's one of the things that's always funny when you see a really advanced lifter and you look at them and say, oh, that guy hasn't made any progress. Yeah, if he's not using any gear and he's not using some sort of overreaching and underreaching type model like that, he may not make any gains. Welcome to being an advanced lifter. It's much, much harder to cause any change to occur. In other words, the amount of progress that a novice lifter can make in a single month sometimes exceeds what an advanced lifter can do in an entire year. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that when you're an advanced lifter, sometimes you have to put in an entire year's worth of work to do what a novice can do in terms of size and strength gains in a single week. Okay, let that sink in for a moment. So for the novices and a lot of people out there who try to judge other people online or whatever are often novices, and they don't seem to realize this. Right? They don't realize that when you see a dramatic change in an advanced lifter, he went on cycle. He didn't do that by lifting weights. Okay? The weights obviously were part of it. But usually if he makes a noticeable difference in 3 months and you notice a difference, they're usually blasting pretty hard. They usually did a pretty heavy anabolic cycle to pull that off. Because under realistic circumstances, what most of you guys can do in a couple of weeks of really hard work will take the advanced lifter sometimes a year to achieve the same amount of difference. And that really is realistic. Let's get over to the point though. Overreaching is when we exceed our ability to recover. We train beyond our recovery ability over the course of days or weeks. In other words, when you're a novice, we can do a lot of times just normal full body workouts, right? And if you recover and you get improved the next session, how many of you ran novice programs and every time you went to the gym for several weeks straight, you were able to put 5 pounds on the bar, more than you did the time before on a squat or a bench press? It was amazing. It was magical. You fully recovered and adapted between those sessions, sometimes 3 times in a week. You got stronger because you fully recovered. You gained muscle, you adapted, and the whole system got bigger and stronger. You did that sometimes in 2 or 3 days. All right, so you were fully recovered. The more advanced lifter oftentimes comes in and we have to train again before we're recovered because we require a larger disruption of the system to make any progress. Sometimes for the advanced lifter, our training loads may be 5 times higher than what a novice lifter did. Novices are like, that's not possible. What do you mean? It's like, well, do the math. How many total pounds did you move doing squats and bench in that full body workout? Realistically, let's say you did a 5x5. You did a 5x5 with 135 pounds on the bar for the bench. And you did a 5x5 with 225 on the squat. That's like nothing. That's literally nothing. For an advanced lifter, and I'll give you the perfect example. Look at some of my bench sessions so that you understand the difference. How frequently do you see me hit a max effort bench press? Like let's say recently. Did a max 135 bench with a bunch of chains added on top of that, okay? We'll call that moving whatever, 360 pounds for one. Then a board presses, multiple sets of board presses with the 335 for low reps. Then closed grip bench 225 for 5 sets of 10. Now, if you're a novice lifter, doing 225 for 10 reps on any form of bench, even fresh, is completely outside of what you're going to be able to do. And in fact, 2 sets of 10 with that is more total tonnage than you moved in your entire bench press session doing 5s, right? Way more tonnage. But that is a third exercise deep into it. And instead of just 2 sets, which exceeded your entire workload, it was 5. Typical bench session for an advanced lifter literally might be 5 times the work you do. Then start talking about lower body sessions. My God. Think about just the total weight move difference. Just the weight moved alone difference. Sometimes our second and third exercises in a session are more total weight than you squatted. And these are smaller movements. Okay, it's way more tonnage. And we barely make any gains from it. Sometimes that barely is enough training to make any response at all. Novices are getting bigger and stronger in 48 hours off of a fifth of the work. So that's what we mean. So here's the problem. The minimum volumes you need to get bigger and stronger, the more advanced you get, go up and up and up and up. Recovery may not scale proportionately. So what happens? We oftentimes are not recovering on a training session to training session system. We're not recovering week to week. We have to focus on stuff like stimulus to fatigue ratios. We actually have to pick exercises that are specifically easier to recover from for our volume training, instead of which ones are what you would think of as the biggest, best, most effective. We actually have to start weighing out, can I even recover from this? All right? That's the reality of it. So what happens? You're going to overreach. You're going to start doing multiple training sessions in which you have not recovered from the session before. And you continue to dig a recovery well. Okay? You're not recovered. You're accumulating higher and higher amounts of training stress. At a certain threshold, if you just back off a little bit and allow your body a week to recover in a deload, where you dramatically reduce everything you do, and it can be anything from a large reduction in training loads all the way down to doing nothing but active recovery and band work and stuff like I do. I don't touch a barbell. On my deload weeks, I do not train, right? I do body weight movements, band work, restoration type stuff. I don't touch a barbell at all. Well, this allows for us to train harder and to hit heavier workloads. Because what happens during that week? We adapt, we grow. If we recover and we do just a little bit of training stimulus to keep everything flowing, we catch up. All of that accumulated training stress is still there. We can still adapt to it, but we have to recover from it. And this is where we get into the overreaching and then deload model. Okay, this is very, very viable for the more advanced lifter. See, the novice lifter would never want to do this, so they would never think, oh man, I need to take a whole week where I just back way off. Right? Because for them, they're not in a habit of training. That would mean they probably just quit training and never come back. It's usually what you see happen when a novice who does not create a habit and a lifestyle of training backs off. They just give up. They just quit because this isn't part of their lifestyle yet and they took a break. Right? When you get more advanced and you start really pushing those limits and exceeding your recovery ability for days or weeks, sometimes weeks on end, that downtime and that reduction becomes a requirement to even recover. Okay? Because your other option is with a lot of guys who just up the dose, bro. Well, you can't keep doing that the rest of your life. You can't burn the candle at both ends. Right? That's not viable. You get away with it for a while when you're younger. You get to my age, that's not an option anymore. Can't just blast a bunch of gear to help you recover because it'll kill you, right? We've seen it happen. So you have to rely on your body's actual ability to recover, and that means backing off, deloading. And it works, and it's beneficial, and it's one of the best ways to make gains and stay injury free and continue to make gains as an advanced lifter. Don't fear it, embrace it. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.